We all make choices. But in the end, our choices make us.
So choose wisely.
Subscribe to It's Erik Nagel wherever podcasts are found. And leave a positive review, won't you kindly? It's Erik Nagel. And it starts now.
What up, my Nagel? 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 Talking about George R.R. Martin, not writing. Talking Marvel vs. DC, who's more exciting? Talking George Lucas's legacy, high-scoring centipede. Talking Gittles' new beef burrito recipe. Talking about Stephanie McMahon versus Sable. Talking about the Cybermen versus the Weeping Angels. Don't blink, the dialect's more deadly than you think. Talking Summer Ale, Blueberry Pale, craft beer, pouring drinks. What up, my Nagel? Deadpool 2 features Cable. Talking Funko Pop, celebrity signed a label. Talking online gaming, bitching and complaining. Talking E-Rock, kissing the feet of Matt Groening. Warner Brothers properties, Superman's a mockery. Weird Al concerts, Kevin Smith's debauchery. Rick and Morty fun zone. The Lego build team, can I have your attention? Possible Donkey Kong kill screen. What up, my Nagel? What up, my Nagel? What up, my Nagel? What up, my Nagel?
Ladies and gentlemen of the universe, the next voice you hear.
It's Erik Nagel.
Hello, welcome to another edition of It's Erik Nagel, that is me, returning. It's been a while since he's been sitting in that seat
Since
to my
I've been in
right.
this seat, yes.
Right, Matt OG.
Hello, what's up?
Over in the upside down is Giddles.
Hello.
And to the far right is Trevs and Debs.
I got put in the shitty seat now.
I just remembered
right.
I just remembered what I wanted to talk to you about, Trevor.
Oh dear God.
Yes, but we'll get into that in a second. It's your taste in television shows. That's what we need to talk about.
Well,
Does he not have any friends?
That is also true.
That's because he's too busy endeving.
Yeah.
When not even asked, he just shows up and endevs.
That's it.
Some quick show updates for you before we get into everything we have to talk about. We have a brand new phone number for the show.
Ooh, the lolly.
So you can call in.
1-900? Is it a 900 number?
Do 900 even exist anymore?
Well, let me
It's
check.
rare when you see
It's
rare when you see a commercial and they have an 800 number because those were all maxed out. They're all like 844, 833, whatever kind of number they can combine together to make it look like a toll-free number. I don't think they still have 900 numbers. Although I was doing some work the other night and I watch time to time FXX until the Simpsons run out, and then they usually do Archer for the overnight.
Yes.
But then the commercials change once it's past midnight. They still have commercials for like phone sex things.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
It's just like one lady who's been doing it forever, and she sounds like Lunch Lady Doris from The Simpsons now. She's like, I'm touching your balls. I'm so old.
Remember the Beavis and Butthead episode where they call the 900 number and the girl has a hot voice and she's just this big mess in a trailer?
Oh, yeah.
And they make her put the phone under her butt and they stay on there all night laughing like we can hear her butt breathing and they're just laughing and like we're listening to a butt. It's one of those things. So
you're listening to a butt here on It's Erik Nagel.
I'm watching the commercial and this girl
Story
comes
of my
on.
life.
She goes, I like to come home from like a long day or whatever and unwind, and I call this phone number and I talk to really interesting and amazing guys, and I'm like, I look up and I'm like, how is this still? This is beyond antiquated. Like that is a relic almost. How are people still doing phone sex?
It's literally for people who don't have computers, because if you have a computer...
But if they don't have a computer, they have I've seen homeless people with smartphones.
But what about like blind people, Eric? Blind people need porn too.
So you just hear ... dash.
No, well, they'll still be like, 1-900 dicks a lot or some shit, and then like you call it up
those
and then
nasty
they just talk
thoughts
to you on the phone.
baby got back.
That's right.
Yeah.
Right.
I just don't know how that still made money.
Well,
like,
apparently,
who calls
if
that?
it's a thriving business and you're still looking for work, I mean, the writing's on the wall.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't hit that point yet. I'm still doing okay.
You haven't hit phone sex operator point yet.
But if it's this way,
he's almost there. He's at mime.
Yeah, but give it a couple years. If I'm still at this point in a couple of years,
good for you.
then maybe that's.
I thought he was going to say give it till September.
He is.
Oh God.
I mean, you got the microphone for it right now and everything.
That's it.
Go ahead.
Black soft.
Yeah, how would you answer? Go ahead.
No, I'm not doing
Do
it.
it.
Can't you make money doing those? What is it? ASMR videos.
Oh,
where
yeah,
the
yeah.
People just read weird, they read recipes, but in really slow melodic vocal tones.
We know somebody who does that.
Yes, she does.
She does. Apparently, she does very well.
Yeah, but it's part of her whole
I get it.
Yeah,
but she's focused. I've seen that she's focused a lot more on that because it seems to be generating a lot more money for her, as far as Twitch and everything.
Good
goes.
for her.
Good for her.
Yeah, and it could be good for you one day. Just
years from now, though.
You know what? We're supposed to be supportive in this group, not facing cold, hard realities. There, Trevor.
When have we ever been supportive?
Wait, Trevin?
Trevor.
I heard Trevin.
I thought you called him Trevin.
No,
Yeah, I heard Trevin.
Trevor.
I want to know.
Is a
for
good
you?
mix between Trevs and Devs and Trevor, like Trevin.
Trevin.
I want to know
What you doing,
we-
man? I'm Trevin.
I missed the we were supportive memo apparently because
Never.
I heard the opposite on It's Erik Nagel. We're not supportive.
that's it. Not your father's jockstrap. That's our.
That's the hashtag.
That's
not
the
your father's
hashtag.
jockstrap.
That could also be the show title. Write that down, Trevor.
Not your father's job.
There you go. So this way you can call us and ask any of your questions that you maybe want to know, and we will answer all that stuff. The phone number, what's up?
No, go ahead.
So it's 651-764-8437. So
That's
it's
not
651 Smithers.
Smithers.
Perfect.
And the voicemail says,
Hello, Smithers. You're quite good at turning me on.
Thank you for saying voicemail because I guarantee that you're going to get at least a handful of calls that are like, "Hello, are you guys? Hello, hello." Hello?
Get all
It's the Erik Nagel show.
Is this you guys suck.
we'll still take those calls.
Of course we will.
See, you already started practicing. If your voice is on the voicemail,
My voice is not on the voicemail.
to attract people.
In fact, the voice on there is a friend of mine who does the voice for customer service numbers for Disney. So we got a professional to do it.
Ooh, a professional.
Wow.
When you listen to her voice, you'll be like, yeah, she works for Disney.
And I want to ride her Magic Mountain.
That is horrible. Horrible young man.
I mean,
Anyway.
as long as it's not a Yeti, that's
Yeah. Oh yeah. No. Great personality.
So that's the phone number, 651 Smithers, if you want to call and talk to the show and ask whatever you would like.
Doesn't make me laugh every time.
I was trying other combinations because like Monty Burns is 10 numbers, so I was
Right.
like, well, maybe, and that doesn't exist.
Right.
And I tried all different. I tried Boo Earns. I tried all.
Had
It's
like a good hour conversation via text and just nope. All right, well then just go with Smithers. Fuck
That's
it.
it. Smithers.
Because what would be cool if you called like 212 Boo Earns?
Yeah. But people would spell that wrong. Smithers, at least, I feel, is like,
Yeah, I can't really.
even
mess with
for our
Smithers.
listeners who are,
Smith.
A step above Cro-Magnon.
there you go.
Yeah.
You're apparently a step above Cro-Magnon. They would be able
I
to
said
spell
it
right.
wrong because I said Magnum.
Yes,
I know,
you did.
I know. But that's
Cro-Magnon.
the
Cro-Magnon PI. Thank you. It sounds like a Rick and Morty spin-off cartoon.
You know, I would totally watch Cro-Magnon PI.
You know what? So when they do,
interdimensional cable.
when they do
Looks like he
Interdimensional
was
Cable
killed at the
3,
club.
That's it.
there you go, Cro-Magnon PI.
It's a cross between the Crudes and...
All right.
All right.
We're not.
And those guys are the stupid cavemen show.
That's it. Oh, God. You remember that show? Who thought
I
that
remember the
taking-
commercials
who
more
thought
than the
taking
show.
a Geico commercial and turning it into a sitcom was a good idea?
ABC.
ABC.
Oh,
Yeah.
poor
Because they were
ABC.
like, well, look, it worked for the dinosaurs.
But Dinosaurs wasn't a commercial first, was it?
But
Oh,
the
okay,
voice-
okay.
taking something that's not
Yeah,
a
yeah.
traditional
Yes.
show. It's like it worked for the dinosaurs. Let's try it again in the 2000s and go with the cavemen. That was the equivalent of maybe a network saying, you know what, the Budweiser What's Up guys really have some longevity. Let's give them a show on Fox.
Let's give them a show on Fox. It would just be movie reviews.
We got a serious drama starring the Scrubbing Bubbles.
The frogs can make an appearance since they're all in the same universe.
Sure.
The Real American Heroes, which turned into Real Men of Genius.
That's right.
Toilet Duck.
Yeah, there you go. Toilet Duck.
I'm just naming products that have funny animals.
Funko, if you're listening, we need a toilet duck.
There you go.
Yo, I want Toilet Duck so bad. He's like, whack, whack. And then he always shot the blue shit at the toilet and cleaned the pee rings.
I'm surprised Funko hasn't made the Squatty Potty Unicorn yet, if I'm being honest. I feel like that's a boat they're missing.
Or if you're looking in the unicorn universe, what about Charlie?
There you go.
Charlie. And Candy Mountain. I'd buy those.
Well, then they would have to do llamas with hats also.
Carl! God, all those things are awesome. I would just buy with the what's the guy's name where he kept taking his kidney?
I
would just buy the kidney.
Just the kidney?
That's the con exclusive.
That's it.
Yeah.
You get the regular or the glow in the dark. So moving on to anything going on in personal lives, anybody? Anything to talk about?
Life sucks, then you die. I'm going to go see CKY tomorrow night.
Is CKY still a thing?
Yeah, they're like, there's only 3 of them now, so they're playing down at the Asbury Lanes. I said, why not? Right after Bruce.
At the bowling alley.
Yeah, right after the bowling alley. There was Bruce last week, and now it's CKY. So.
CKY and Puppet Show.
For those who don't know what CKY is, this was a band that started back in the 90s. It was a band, but then it turned into a whole other concept. It stands for Camp Kill Yourself.
Yes,
because that's where Jackass and Bam Margera all originated from. Because one of the singers is Bam's brother.
Yeah, the drummer is
Jesse, right?
Is Jesse
Margera.
Yeah.
So they had the band, but then they would do like their own stunts. It was almost like their own festival. Just for them.
But I feel like no one really cared about the band. They all cared about like the stunts and like the pranks and all that stuff.
They all used to
but
do.
But they had hit songs, like kind of hit songs.
Yeah, that was the thing. Like they just did all the stunts and everything, and they're all friends, and some of the friends could play instruments. So when they needed music behind their stunts and not getting sued, they just played their own music.
I remember their song. It was 99 Quite Bitter Beings.
96.
96? Was that what it was?
I think so. Yeah.
90s.
I don't remember that.
That's the only song
you would
I
know
remember
it the
from them.
second you heard it.
All right, I'm gonna take your word for it.
I'm gonna have to look that one. I remember. Was it Flesh into Gear?
I don't remember.
That's another one too. That one's a great song too.
Flesh into Gear is a
Shit,
great
now
song.
I want to listen to some CKY.
I don't remember any of their songs.
Tomorrow night, come on out.
Oh, I can't.
There's a train.
There's a train wreck?
No, there's a train that
it's
goes right
Let's just say, no, they haven't played yet, Eric.
Let's see if this works here.
Oh yeah, I remember this.
Oh yeah.
This was like the loop of the menu for the CKY DVDs. This thing was,
and it was in Tony Hawk.
That's what I know from Tony Hawk.
And
what track is that?
96 Quite Bitter Beings.
Okay.
It was also the theme from our old friends of mine, CT and Jiven.
No,
when they were on Free FM and XM for a little bit. Yeah, they used to use this song a lot. But anyway, so you're going to see CKY. That's going to be interesting.
My friend owes me money, and he said, "How about the CKY ticket instead?" And I was like, "That a couple beers were good."
Do me a favor and take a good look at the audience that shows up there and see if there's any young people that go to this thing.
What do you consider young people?
Under 30.
Okay, I will be there.
Besides you.
Oh, okay, yeah, sure.
I don't think it's like I saw a live clip of NoFX playing not too long ago, and I looked at the crowd.
Sad?
No, they were packed. Like, there was tons of people.
But what is
there.
it like? Was it like the old bald dude wearing his?
But they're older guys.
That doesn't fit anymore.
It's a fan base where I remember from like the late '80s all through junior high and high school. People would write like Metallica and NoFX on their binders and their book covers and things like that. But like it was a fan base that grew with them up to a certain point, and now I don't think they're getting younger people as part of their fan base because it's just old people at these concerts.
That almost makes me feel good, but terrible at the same time. Because a couple years ago, I had this inner monologue with myself where I was like, you know what, I kind of want to go. There's this little shithole venue locally. It's called the Meat Locker. It's in the basement of a building.
Sounds about right.
The Blue Oyster.
I mean, it's in Montclair. It's in Montclair, right? And it's a complete and utter shithole. But the music that's there, it's all like it's all local bands, bands that'll travel, but it's small bands.
Like
Nobody
Maxwell's
big.
used to be in.
Yeah, but even smaller than Maxwell's.
Okay.
Like it's like the size of this. It's tiny.
Yeah.
But it's all like pop. It's all like punk and a little bit of ska still, and that kind of stuff. And I seriously was like, I'm gonna go to the Meat Locker. Like I had a night where like my wife was gone, and I was like, I'm gonna go check it out. And then I was like, no, I'm gonna be the old guy
standing in the corner at
the
punching
concert.
the floor.
Yeah, and I can't do it. I couldn't bring myself to go to a venue to listen to that kind of music because I didn't want to be that guy. Because I used to look at that guy and be like, why is that guy here?
Could you get away with it if you brought your son?
No, because he's too young, and then that would be really weird. Because they'd be like, that kid shouldn't be here. Why is that old guy here with that kid?
They're both just punching the floor in the center of the
His
of the
poor
mosh
ears.
pit.
Yeah,
did he kidnap the kid? Like, what's going on?
Why did he come here in a van with no windows?
Yeah, does he have candy in his pockets? I have gummy bears. But so
You're not allowed to make those jokes anymore. You'll get fired.
I will get fired. So yeah, from what? No one's paying me. So, but yeah, I reached that point in my life where like there are just some concerts or music events that I don't know that I would be comfortable going to.
Well, I went to 2 concerts in the last week, and that's
Right.
I wasn't allowed to go to any of them.
I haven't been to concerts in years.
But the concert you went to was like
2 of them.
Were
2 different concerts.
so the ones you went to, they were seating, right? It wasn't like
it was an amphitheater, so
Right.
half was seating and then half was long.
all right. So
but I had seats.
so
you have seats because you're old.
right. But even if
money,
not,
either
even
one.
if not, yeah, even if not, that kind of no, because even if I had money, there are certain shows where I would rather be on the floor than have a seat. But I think that if you're in like a bigger theater where there are some seats, even if there is floors, like that's a different vibe than one of these small venues,
Right.
Standing room only.
You know what I
like
mean?
an Irving Plaza,
Right,
or something.
like
yeah.
I would still go to concerts. Like I'm going to, I still go to shows. But when I go to shows, it's at these big, huge venues where you expect like a wide range of people to show up.
Okay,
and it's not weird. But if you go to one of these tiny venues where like 3 times a week they have the 18 and under shows, like if you like those kinds of, you're like, I shouldn't go to these venues even when they have the adult, like I shouldn't go there.
Like when you get there and like you're holding up the line because you're being carded and everyone else is getting an X on their hand.
right, yeah.
And
It's
you're like, I shouldn't be here anymore.
Right. Like I don't know
He
that
shows
I
up
can-
and he goes, you pick up your kids on the other side where
Right.
there's parking.
Like I would go to the Warped Tour still, right? If I was like, I could go to that, but I don't know that I would go to like the Stone Pony. It would depend on who's playing,
Right.
But I don't know that I would go to Birch Hill anymore. Like I feel like the Birch Hill days are behind me.
R.I.P.
I think
I think it just depends on the show.
I think I
maybe.
would go now. I think I would if I don't want to go anywhere, but if I
Like-
had to, I would go to the Stone Pony more than I'd go to Randall's Island to see Warped Tour.
No, but see, but from an inclusion standpoint, I feel like a place like Randall's Island, Asbury Park Convention Center.
Yeah, it's a big enough venue.
Camden.
Yeah.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Garden,
Okay.
the one up the down the Parkway. What is it? It used to be Garden State Arts Center. What is it? PNC, whatever it is
PNC
now.
Bank
like
Arts
one of
Center,
those places.
yeah.
Those people just go to those. It's a very relaxed. But if you're going to one of these tiny little venues and one of these tiny little places,
Yeah.
and it's like a punk band playing, and the guys in the band are like 18 and 19, and I'm like 40.
We're in our mom's van going
Yeah.
across the country, and
Yeah,
we're
like,
here to play for you.
I
And
would,
I'm like,
I would feel weird. It's totally me. Like
And the
I
other
get
people Matt's age are the parents of the kids in the band playing.
Right. I would just, me personally,
They're
I think
taping
I
it
would
with their
feel
large
weird.
iPad.
Oh God.
Oh, that's so embarrassing.
But if
a kitty.
but if a band,
Jared.
but if a band from that, like period of time were playing, I would go. So like if like the Bosstones were playing in a small venue, I would go to that.
I would definitely go to
because
that.
it's the fucking Boss. If like Real Big Fish were Less Than Jake, like one of those bands, I think you can get away going there a little bit older. But if it's like,
Well, I don't know how many new listeners to their music they have.
I think what
some of them still do because they put out new albums and they still, there's a lot of younger bands that still kind of emulate some of those bands and
Right.
still kind of they'll do a Less Than Jake cover kind of like one of those.
I think it's okay if a band has longevity and they've been around for a long
Sure.
time.
Like I'd go see the Bouncing Souls.
I think it's okay that you went to see this band because maybe there's younger people that like the
Sure.
band, but you're not looked at as why are these these old guys here? Because that band's been around 30 years,
Right.
But if you went to go see Fall Out Boy or Panic at the Disco
Right.
or something
Or
newer,
some other band that doesn't play anymore.
No, but like
They play.
even one of those bands, I'd be
Terribly.
okay. What I'm talking about is
Right.
like in the late '90s, mid '90s, late '90s. Like I would just go to these random like American Legion halls.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
it'd be
dude,
like
all the
Thursday
time.
night.
VFW halls.
Right, VFW halls. And
Post.
And it would just be like a bunch. It'd be like 3 punk bands. Maybe you knew one of them
Yeah.
because they were from your town.
Yeah.
The other 2 was just like potluck, and they'd sell the one small vinyl record with 3 tracks on it. You're like,
Yep.
like I don't know that I
have my
age would
glass
feel,
jaw cassette sitting in
Yeah.
the back there.
Right. I mean,
The Long Island Ska compilation.
right,
Yes.
exactly. Right. Like I have like Right Turn Eddie and One Cool Guy vinyl.
2 Skinny J's.
Yeah, but like
Catch 22.
Like I don't know that I
Other
could
bands
go,
with numbers in their names.
I don't know that I could go to that kind of show now and feel comfortable. I think it would be weird. Maybe it wouldn't. I don't know.
No, I don't disagree
I don't think
with
there's a scene that's young enough for those
Yeah.
kind of bands that you mentioned, so I still think it's okay to go see them.
No, there is still a really big scene for that.
Is there?
I didn't even know there was a scene anymore,
I
first of all.
only know
Yeah, I
that.
didn't know either.
I only know that because I know a guy who does audio for like 1 or 2 small bands.
Right.
And so he kind of goes to some of these shows because he gets paid to do audio for the shows.
Right.
And I was talking to him because there's a Facebook page that's like Northern New Jersey
Music?
90s
Oh.
punk. But it's all these guys that went to all of these American
These
Legion halls,
shows, right.
VFW halls, and stuff like that. And so, I'm a member of that group because I went to a lot of those shows, and I know some of these people that went to those shows because you meet them through the years or whatever. And he says that there are still a lot of bands that are playing like that. But again, we're talking about kids that are, 16, 17, 18.
Yeah, I can't do that.
I don't know that I could go to that show. I think I would be awkward for me to show up at that show.
Yeah, that's a little weird.
That's
Because
what
if
I'm
you throw a
saying.
beer at them, they might misinterpret it as you buying a beer for them.
Right, and then I'd end up in jail.
I'm offended. You got me a light beer.
Yeah.
He touched me too. What?
But also, on the other hand, if one of those, like you were saying, if one of those bigger bands from the 90s came around and was playing, I would only want to see them in a small venue. Like if the Bosstones were coming around, it's like, oh, they're gonna play Madison Square Garden. I'd be like, why don't you just play a club down the street? You know what I mean? I would much rather see them in a smaller
Those
location.
bands tend to tour with other
Bigger acts now?
no, with other like
Smaller
genre
acts,
bands that still exist from that era, because I always see the same 3 bands in some sort of combination touring with each other. Less Than Jake, Real Big Fish, Bosstones.
Yep.
And it's usually Less Than Jake and Real Big Fish, but then once in a while it's Real Big Fish and the Bosstones, because the Bosstones don't tour as much as the other 2 bands.
Yeah.
But then sometimes they'll throw, especially if it's on the West Coast, you'll get bands like, maybe Weezer will do a couple of shows with
Right.
them. Smash Mouth will do stuff with them. All these bands that still exist from that era of when they all came to be big still will tour with each other because they'll make more money as a collective than they will
Sure.
just
They
going
do
out
those
on their own.
90s tours.
I remember going to a Real Big Fish show after their 3rd or 4th album came out.
Yeah. Save Ferris once in a while. That
Oh,
girl
I
from
would-
Save
I would
Ferris
absolutely go
still
see that.
does stuff. I think she only does West Coast shows, but she still goes out there and does stuff.
I would go see Dance Hall Crashers if they were playing somewhere.
I love Dance Hall Crashers.
So do I.
Weren't
They're one of my
were
favorites.
did they become another band or were they from another band?
I've only known them as Dance Hall Crashers.
I'm gonna look that up.
Yeah, same here. I've only known them as Dance Hall
But
Crashers.
but I remember I went to a Real Big Fish show and it was already their 3rd or 4th album that had just come out, and it was a small venue, Birch Hill. Now we're talking like the 2000s, and I had been listening to Real Big Fish since Turn the Radio Off, right? That their first big album with Sell Out and shit like that. And I felt old at that show, and I was like, and that's already like years ago. So it's been many years since then.
Yeah.
Wow, I forgot. I'm
Like, a
looking
lot
at
of the-
Dance Hall Crashers.
I-
I forgot Tim Armstrong was part of the original.
Yeah. It's a great band, man. I was listening to them recently.
Because they were mostly female lead singers.
Correct.
But yeah, I forgot Tim Armstrong was a part of that.
I'm digitizing my whole entire CD collection, and I'm finding all these local bands that I used to go see, and they're like, it's like all of a sudden it used to be a big deal when they came back around. Like, oh, they haven't played in like 2 years.
Yeah.
Now they're also trying to money grab. Like 40 Below Summer popped up. It's like it used to be a big deal that they would come out once a year. It's like, yeah, it's the one show. Now it's like every 6 months because they really need money.
They really need something, yeah.
Remember you were asking me about what to do with your digital collection after you digitize this? Those local band things, give it a shot and try putting them up on eBay. You'd be surprised. Some of that stuff that was never in mass print, if you put that up there, somebody might actually buy it.
Really?
The rest of the stuff that you could have bought in any music store, you can get rid of or donate to the library or something.
What's a library?
They exist still.
Oh.
They
It's
rent
where you put
everything for
books
free.
And old people.
Right. I went to 2 concerts in the past couple of days. The first concert I went to was the Pixies and Weezer.
Ooh.
And their opening act was this group called the Sleigh Bells.
Mm-hmm.
Who I
don't like Sleigh Bells.
I used to hear them on Alt Nation time to time. They had a song called Real that I actually enjoyed. They did a short set. They were really good. Pixies came on, and it was just a Pixies show where it was white lights from the back. They're all shadows. You can't really see anything except Frank Black's face. Right. Everybody else was in a silhouette, and unless they had to sing, then you didn't see the whole band. They did really good. They still sounded exactly the same, and that band's been around since what, the 80s?
But they play enough where I would expect them to still be really good.
Yeah.
They tore enough.
Yeah.
Well, I remember the Pixies, they weren't playing for a long time, and then probably early 2000s they started touring again, and then they just haven't stopped. They just kind of came back into the spotlight. But I remember there was a while they weren't playing.
You can count on them coming around once a year.
Yeah, and the
easily, yeah.
I'm trying to remember the girl's name, Kim. The bass player. She started the Breeders.
Oh God!
When the Pixies broke up, and I didn't realize that. We were there, and I overheard somebody talking, and I went, "Oh my God, that is."
Yeah.
She went and formed the Breeders while they were on hiatus, and then broke up the Breeders to go back into the Pixies. But they did good, and then Weezer was great. Weezer killed, and they did a huge stage change in the center of the whole set.
Yeah.
Where Rivers goes on he dresses up for yacht rock.
Right.
He's got the captain's jacket and the hat and takes a scooter.
He's dressing up for stuff that's so lame.
So he goes all the way around around the side of the
I bet he looked like
amphitheater,
Gilligan.
and then comes through the middle, and then they have a sort of a beach set up.
Do they have a new album out?
I don't know if they do.
Okay. I think they're just pushing that Toto
it's called
cover.
The Beige Album.
Right.
Yeah.
So they have
you get free khakis when you buy it.
They have this big coconut umbrella thing and a beach setting, and he goes up there and he plays acoustically for a couple of songs.
Right.
In the center of the crowd, so it takes your attention away from the stage while they switch everything. And I wish more bands did that.
Sure.
Because I saw some other shows that was horrible the way they flipped everything over. But the first half of the concert was the Arnold's Drive-In from Happy Days, which they kicked off the show with Buddy Holly, did several songs. He went to the middle, did acoustic, Islands in the Sun with the crowd, Aha's Take on Me, and one other song I'm forgetting. And then when the stage was done, they started doing like a guitar solo kind of thing where he skated all the way back. And now they flipped it to in the garage.
Oh, it's one of my favorite songs ever.
So the whole set was the garage with the big their Wonder Woman looking logo, with the guitar things on the side. So now it's a like an old 70s rock looking set with the garage there, and they just killed it. The whole thing from front to back was a very solid show.
Did they bring out
is Weezer just Weird Al now? What is up with these set changes? That's just so weird to me.
It starts off with the Arnold's thing because they do Buddy Holly, which was the music video.
Oh no, I get everything you're saying, but it's just really strange to me. Hey, we're coming out, we're just gonna do all these themed songs. Just play a show.
It's not to me because I kind of feel like Weezer has always been a bit theatrical.
Yeah. And the backgrounds do hang down like a Broadway set.
Yeah, so I think.
Insane.
Yeah, it's I
feel like if you do a
Weezer.
big venue like an amphitheater like that or a Madison Square Garden, I don't have a problem with you doing some kind of background or something to keep me interested. A smaller venue, I just think doesn't call for it. I don't know. 30 Seconds to Mars just did the Garden, and it was just them on a square stage, not even a black backdrop. It was just literally, and there's 2 of them.
Yeah.
Right.
So
most
after
in
the third
a bigger
song,
venue,
it's just Jared Leto dancing in a circle. Oh, just like, I don't know, shoot up some fireworks or something.
Give me something.
In a bigger venue, more times than not, bands don't have anything on the stage, like at Madison Square Garden. If they do
a video screen or something.
If they do a stadium, they'll have a huge set most of the time. But if they're in an arena, it's usually that's just enough of a background that they don't need to do anything. In a smaller venue, some of these bands do put up stuff to make it look a bit bigger than it really is.
Yeah, I mean, I can see it.
It shows. I think it just shows that they're giving more effort into their performance by having that. And the fact that it was flawless the way they did it was amazing. I'm like, wow, they put a lot of thought and skill into all of what they're doing, that it just from front to back, you're watching the whole thing and you're never distracted.
Did they pull out the trampoline?
No.
Did they play any like deep cuts, or was it just all every one of their hits?
They played Pinkerton. They played everything off of Pinkerton. That's what their deep cuts are.
I'm trying to think how deep they went. Yeah, there's one song I didn't recognize. I gotta try to remember what it was. They played El Scorcho, but they had a lot of. It was all big radio hits. Their ending before their encore was Africa.
Okay.
And then they came back.
I love that song.
And they did 2 songs, which the closer was "Say It Ain't So" was the big thing, and he let the whole crowd just sing most of the song anyway. So
the only album I listen to theirs still consistently is the Blue album.
The Blue album.
You know, I never was a big Weezer
They did
fan.
Jonas.
Yeah.
Yep.
I was never a big Weezer fan, and then Blink-182 came back around,
right?
Like the original, and I got a free ticket. I'll go see it. And I hate Taking Back Sunday, so I just skipped over that.
Right.
But I walked in still too early. I'm like, Weezer, all right, I'll give it a shot. I know a song or two. And holy shit, I loved it. It was insane. I didn't recognize. I didn't realize a lot of the songs I knew. I didn't really just put it together with Weezer, and then they just did an incredible live show where at one point they pulled the trampoline out and they're doing one song and he's just bouncing up and down the trampoline and still playing, and then he does a flip and he completely loses the guitar and you hear it like, but I thought it was fucking cool that he tried to do a flip on a trampoline while playing the show. I thought that was so rock and roll.
See, they put the effort into these smaller shows.
I give it to them. That was down in Camden outside. So
that was the first concert I saw. The second concert was not as enjoyable. I went to go see Marilyn Manson and Rob Zombie.
Right.
So the first band that was on, I just went over to the Cadillac VIP lounge and just had some drinks and hung out.
Who was the first band?
It was probably the best band
the
there.
Fuck
obviously.
Because that band was like, let's take every aspect that made a band popular in the 90s and put it all in one band and make it horrible. So it's all right, here's the breakdown in the song where we sound like Rage. Here's me screaming like Jonathan Davis and Korn. Here's where we sound like Limp Bizkit. Here's where we they took all these elements into all their songs, and it was horrible.
I'm gonna try to find it.
Most of the people weren't there weren't even sitting. They were all getting beer and hanging out. So then Marilyn Manson comes on. Everybody funnels into the amphitheater. It's getting packed. He's horrible. All right. The guitars and the music are covering up so much of him, so you can't even tell how bad he is. But we were so close you could hear it.
I'm not surprised.
How awful his singing was. He kept spitting on everybody in the audience, right? And then after every single song, he would throw the microphone and walk off the stage. So the lights would go off, and then the stage people would have to come out and they would change stuff up for depending what song he's doing.
Right.
2 to 4 minutes, it's dark, nothing's playing. Every song, there's a fucking change.
Oh, yeah, no.
And then he comes back out, maybe he's got a new costume on, and he does this one song where I can't think of the name of it, but it goes, "You say God and I say Satan," is like the whole chorus for the thing. And he's standing on a preacher podium that has the cross upside down, and he's dressed all in bright red, almost like a Lady Gaga outfit, right? Yeah. And
he was the original Lady Gaga.
He was. And he's just leaning, like he's laying over the podium, and he's just looking up this guy, and he's screaming all this nonsense. Lights go off again. He drops the microphone, walks off again, 2 to 4 minutes, and then another song comes on. At one point, before the song was even ending, he grabbed one of the stagehands or the roadie by the throat, and he's just shaking him and just yelling something because he threw the microphone the other way, walks off. So everybody's just kind of like, what the fuck are we watching?
Yeah.
And then he's finally done, and everyone's just, finally he's done. You have some time. You got about 10, 15 minutes, and then all of a sudden Rob Zombie comes in. Non-stop energy from start to finish.
That doesn't surprise me at all.
Stage show never stopped. Like if he had, like he did a couple of songs, if they had to switch up the stage, most of the background was all LED screens. So he showed the trailer for his new movie that's coming out, which people went nuts for. And then he
which one's that?
I forget the name of it.
It's the new. It's the third movie in that trilogy of movies, isn't it?
Oh, okay.
House of a Thousand Corpses, Devil's Rejects, and
Three from Hell.
Yeah,
I think it's called, right?
That's a new one coming out.
I'm sorry,
I missed it.
So he
can't wait.
he does like 4 songs and then it goes black for a second. He walks off, and then all of a sudden, from writer director Rob Zombie. That's all that was said when the crowd was erupting because they're going to watch a movie trailer, and then they show the whole trailer for the movies going on. Then he comes back out to. Is it Never Gonna Stop? My Durango. No, but place is going
Edge's
nuts.
theme song?
Yeah, well, one of his theme songs. You're right. So
I like Edge.
He goes through all these motions. He has 3 little squares on the stage, and he's just jumping back and forth. At one point, he has a huge skeleton with 9 arms that he's just wheeling in a hand truck with his microphone to each side of the stage. It's so funny because he's serious and not serious at the same time. Because there's one part where there's a guitar solo going on, and he's doing yoga. Like, he's stretching his leg out, he's bending, he's doing all these weird, like, karate kick hand moves. Just doesn't stop entertaining. Took a flashlight, ran off the stage, ran around the whole amphitheater while the guitar guy's just doing this solo, going nuts.
John 5 is an amazing, amazing guitar
That's
player.
what I've heard, that people
John 5
rate him as one of the best guitarists ever.
I put him up against Steve Vai or Joe Satriani, Paul Gilbert, easily.
Really?
John 5 is an amazing... His solo stuff is just... Between his chicken picking to the metal stuff is just...
He was great in Short Circuit.
So Rob comes back on stage and just proceeds to does one song with Marilyn Manson. They come out and they do Helter Skelter.
Right.
And then he leaves, and then Rob just ramps it up for the next 2 songs before he ends. Has a huge Satan that comes out and starts dancing.
Sure.
He's like 20 foot tall.
Yeah, Marilyn Manson has not been good since 2005, so
and
I'm
then,
not shocked.
Then has this big, like, huge... It looks like an airplane ladder. You know how they wheel it against the plane like that?
Yeah.
But it's got a big demon decor in the front. And he's sitting there, and it starts off with him just twirling a fire extinguisher around, and it just making the effect. Lights are going through it all crazy. He's singing for a while. At one point, he puts his leg up and doesn't realize where he's leaning and hits the fire extinguisher again, and it shoots up. And you just see him while he's singing. He goes, "Oh, my God." And he grabs it and then throws it over the side. But it was just funny because he never stopped singing, but you could see in his face going, "Oh, my God," because the thing shot off wrong, and he just threw it over the side.
That's hilarious.
Never stopped. Like, the whole show was amazing.
Was he singing?
Yeah.
He was?
He was singing. Okay.
He has been known to lip sync.
No, he was singing.
Okay, just wondering.
Because I've
I've
heard
seen it
him
a couple different times, and it's been hard for me to tell.
Because we were only 8 rows back from center stage, and there was parts where I hear him cut off lyrics to say, "Yeah, come on, whatever." Like, he was yelling at people for. He's like, "Look, I know it's the modern age. I'm never gonna get you people off your phone. So why don't we put them to good use and turn your phones on?" So that for one song they're all lighting
glowing.
up. So while he's doing the whole thing, and yeah, you could tell he was live the whole time.
That's awesome.
Good to know.
Good. So, I will never go to concerts again for another several years now because that was too many.
I can't believe we got
Too many.
Yeah.
Yes.
You went to 2 concerts and it was too many.
I
It
can't
is.
believe you left this basement.
I was gonna say.
Put that down as a possible show title too. Too many.
I have one coming up in October.
Oh, what are you going to see?
I'm going to see the Gorillas.
Oh, yes, you are.
Who are they playing
Nice.
with?
I don't know that they play with anybody when they play.
They have no openers.
Deadly
I don't-
Apples, by the way, was the opener.
I don't know that for
Who?
sure, but I think
Yeah.
because their event is so, I think it's probably just all animatics and then music, and I think.
Well, they have a
it's-
lot of. They
yeah.
do LED screen stuff.
Yeah,
too,
it's
right?
a lot of stuff
Yeah.
going on. So I don't know that they have an opener.
Are they dressed in costume? Like, you don't see them, right? They're dressed up as.
No, you do. You do see them, but you. The way that I had seen them in the past, I've never seen them live, but I've seen video of them. Everybody was in shadow,
Right.
And the screens in the background had, Murdoch, 2D, Noodles, and Russell.
Right.
So I think they still do it that way. And if they have a guest, the guest is like in full light and illuminated. But I've never seen them live, so I'm eagerly looking forward. I'll report back in October.
Please do. Would love to. I have not heard the new album.
I heart it.
Yeah.
I enjoy it. When I bought tickets for the concert through Ticketmaster. And like 2 days after I bought the tickets, I got an email. And they were like, thank you so much for purchasing your tickets to the upcoming concert. We'd like to send you free copies of the CD for every ticket that you bought. And then like
cool.
A week later, I got 2 copies of the CD in the mail.
Nice.
Yeah.
Sweet.
So I was like, bangarang.
Man, I got 3 concerts coming up, and I would love, none of them have new music, but I would love free CD.
Yeah, I mean, I was like, that's great. Like, even I thought maybe like 1 per pair or something. No, it was 1 copy of the CD per ticket. So
that's great.
Yeah, man.
Make me a copy. I would love to check it out.
In my older age, I'm being more...
Just talk about pirating on the air, Eric. Just make me a copy. Yeah, just steal it.
Don't
give it to you for free. Just rip it.
In all honesty, don't you belong to the digital music service? Oh, because I have Google Play.
Yeah.
Because it also gives me access to YouTube Red.
Right.
So it's...
Oh, you're the one.
It's a double whammy.
Yeah.
You listen on the Spotify.
Yeah, I had Spotify when we signed on there.
Yeah.
To put the show on there. I had it for about 3 months, and then they're like, "You need to pay for this." I said, "No."
No, I don't. Again, I don't mind playing for Google Play because it gives me access to YouTube Red also, and because I download a lot of content off of YouTube Red to watch offline.
Right.
It's
so mad at
it makes sense for me. But anyway, so I was gonna say I had the album before I got the CD because I just got it digitally.
I used to go to any concert ever. Like even if I only knew 1 song by the band, I would just go.
Oh, I would just go too.
I would live for a week at the Arts Center. But like now I realize in my older age I'm much more picky with the concerts. Like I wanted to go to Weezer, but I valued the Ozzy tickets more, so I'm going to see Ozzy.
When I had a friend when I was still living in Central Jersey, I had a friend that worked at Jack's Music in Red Bank, and he would get all sorts of free tickets to everything. And whenever he had free tickets, we would go. I mean, I saw Iggy Pop that way. I saw Sponge, the Boss Stones,
Sponge.
Everclear, Tonic, like all these. But some of them weren't great. But if it was,
they had that
none
radio
of those were
song.
great.
No, but you know what? If it was free. If it was a free night out, fuck yeah! What's the worst that happened? You go to a concert, right? Yeah, exactly.
I will go see any of those bands for free.
That's
because
what
it could be a train wreck. You never know what could happen.
Exactly.
The last time I went to a concert for free, what happened?
Well, okay.
4 months later in the hospital.
When I went to
That
go
good
to
of a
my
show?
seats, I just laughed. I'm like, Trevor got hurt here.
It was at a Marilyn Manson show.
You poor man.
Well, that'll teach you not to go.
That's it. Everybody learned
I
a
saw
lesson tonight.
1.5 songs.
You took the easy way out of seeing Marilyn Manson. I had to go the hard way and actually watch the whole set.
No, I've seen
Yeah,
him
you
enough.
didn't break your leg, Eric. You just had to actually sit there or whatever.
I've seen him enough. I don't know who was in more pain. I've seen him enough times to know now that he's just utter shit.
Yeah, he is.
But when he covered It's a Small World the first time I ever saw him, it was possibly one of the greatest moments I've ever seen someone on stage.
That sounds horrible.
It does sound horrible.
Marilyn Manson and Mickey Mouse ears were running around.
I don't even
Is
like
that's going to be like the next creepy cover in like a kid's movie? Like Marilyn Manson just covering It's a Small World for the Slender Man movie?
Oh, man. So
Slender.
All right, moving on. There's some weird shit that's been going on in the past week, and
say that.
some of it we've commented on, and I've noticed that some of our listeners have said, look, we enjoy your show. We would hope you don't continue going into politics because that's not why we listen to your program.
Matt.
And
Not me.
No, Matt and me. And
I love that movie.
And I said,
I was the alien.
Yes.
Yo, that rap scene at McDonald's is so good.
What were we talking about?
I have no idea.
No, I'm just thinking about Matt and me. You're right.
Mac and me, not
I haven't seen that movie in so long.
That weird like baby alien head looking thing.
Yeah, creepy.
I have to see whatever you're talking about. I just pictured Marley.
You've never
and Me.
seen Mac and Me? Holy shit!
No,
dude.
I
Go
thought-
home, clear your schedule, watch it, and then kill yourself because there's nothing that can be better than that.
And there it is. Watch it and then
Wow.
kill yourself.
Well, now I know what my Saturday is.
Now I know what my Sunday is. All right, let's go.
651 Smithers. Remember, it's 651 Smithers.
For
For all your comments.
I kept getting for the longest time. I kept getting the Mac and Me movie confused with Roger and Me, which was the Michael Moore documentary.
Oh God!
Oh my God! It would be so much better if it was Mac and Roger and me, like all three of them,
like
coming around on the interviews, like, oh, so how'd you guys go out of business? And then the alien's like, with its stupid face.
We're talking about the car industry. The alien shows up in the trunk. It's glowing, and that's how he gets back home.
Starts dancing.
No, so some weird stuff happened over the weekend where celebrities were getting targeted for their Twitter accounts from years ago, and it started to blow up as this big pedophile expose or ring. But it was led by this conservative gentleman who I guess was trying to use the same techniques that a lot of liberal people were using during the Trump campaign and currently now, that they decided to just kind of reverse the process and go after Hollywood. And it's actually led to some kind of devastating consequences here, where the first person who was really affected by it was James Gunn.
Yep.
James Gunn, way back in the day, used to work for a company called Troma, which is, I mean, I only know it for Swamp Thing, but they have a whole bunch of other stuff.
Toxic Avenger.
Yeah.
Wasn't Cannibal the Musical Troma? Was that a
Troma? Was it?
Was that a Troma picture?
I'll look that
back
up.
in the day. Troma puts out these like terrible, like
Tromeo and Juliet. They also did Toxic Avenger and like a bunch of those things.
It's like high camp. It's
those USA Up All Night movies, but they made them
comedic sexploitation.
Yeah, they made them seriously. Yeah, you're right. Cannibal the Musical.
Was a Troma.
Trey and Matt from South Park, their first movie that they did out of college was on Troma. Yeah.
One of the best commentary tracks ever.
Yeah.
So
so good.
He used to work for them. He used to make outrageous comments and jokes and what have you. And that he was a different guy back then.
Sure.
And then as his career moved up and on, and he's matured and turned into a different person, and then got with Disney and Marvel, and he's responsible for Guardians of the Galaxy franchise, the way Infinity War changed by adding the Guardians of the Galaxy's sense of style, writing, and humor into the movie to broaden what typically was becoming the format for comic book and superhero movies, and worked on various other things. Somebody found these old comments where they were in poor taste jokes, but they were still jokes, that he were alluding that he was a pedophile, which got him fired from Disney.
Correct.
They pulled him off Guardians of the Galaxy 3, which was just starting to shoot or something, right?
Right.
So
no, it was about to go into production. The script was finished, but it was about to go into production.
Okay. So that happens. And then this certain conservative group started claiming victory and said, we're not done yet, and started going after so many other people.
Right.
They went after Michael Ian Black next.
Was it all pedophilia related things?
Pretty much.
Every single tweet that they were going after people for was all like pedophilia jokes. Like that was it. Because I feel like that's the lowest they can go with how bad things have been. It's just like, well, they're pedophiles, so you can't beat that.
Well, but remember, this is the same group of people that gave us Pizzagate.
And
which was
Gamergate.
the same person.
Gamergate is different.
I thought he was part of the Gamergate.
Oh,
thing
was he
too.
part of Gamergate also?
He might have been.
I don't think so. But I know he gave us Pizzagate, which is also child sex trafficking and pedophilia related and stuff. So
that was the one that like John Podesta and Hillary Clinton were running a pedophilia ring out of a pizza place, and some guy got fucking shot because some dude went there and shot the pizza place
up.
He was gonna rescue these children who don't even fucking exist.
Yeah,
like it's pretty crazy.
So this group led by a guy named Mike Cernovich started going after Michael Ian Black. Anthony Jeselnik was also targeted, which I was a little concerned because if things were going to start heading that way, one or two of the tweets that they posted for Anthony Jeselnik.
Oh, you're right. He was part of Gamergate also.
Yeah, he was really fanning the flames to make that thing bigger than it was. Anthony Jeselnik had one or two tweets that referenced Norton in it, our pal Jim Norton.
Right.
So I was like, oh, God, that's all they need to do is if he's referencing Norton, then they're going to go see Norton stuff where Norton's whole history of comedy has been the most deplorable stuff.
Oh, of course.
So,
but they were only going after people who were like previously targeting Trump or having comments on Roseanne, though.
Correct.
So like, I don't think they would go after any right wing or anybody who didn't say anything negative against the right. You know what I mean? Like,
well, of
they
course
weren't
not,
going
because,
after other comedians.
Because Cernovich himself has had his share of run-ins with the law in regards to sexual assault and rape.
Right.
So.
He then and the list kept going. Then Patton Oswalt was targeted. Sarah Silverman was targeted.
Dan Harmon deleted his Twitter because a video resurfaced.
Right, but
because that's what you want to do. You want to piss off the fans of Rick and Morty who almost burned the world down over a fucking dipping sauce. Yeah, now it'd be like, oh yeah, some right wing trolls got Rick and Morty canceled. They will kill everybody.
The Rick and Morty fan base hates their own their thing that they're fans of. Yeah. But it's their job to hate that. If you start causing problems for that, they all turn and go, "You're not allowed to hate this. We hate this."
Let's be honest. They're pests.
Yeah, they are. They are the pests.
They're pests.
The Rick and Morty fan base is pests.
They're our greatest weapon.
So all they need to do is they need to partner with the Star Wars fans and then go after the conservative groups. And that it's not a political war that we were all worried about. Russia and the United States. It's all internal.
You're just going to
see,
war.
you're going to see the conservative side and the liberal side just going and destroying each other, and then there'll be nothing left. Dogs and cats marrying each other. Mass hysteria.
This is why I don't watch the news. Or pay attention. Like, I get all my political information from you guys.
I'm sorry.
But like,
I open my phone and
But the biggest thing about it is that everyone's trying to say like it's this double standard because of what happened with Roseanne, but it's not a double standard.
It's not
like
at all.
It's just not in any way the same thing, and that's what's really pissing me off is that everyone's like, oh well, yeah, well she said this and she got fired. He said this he said it like 10 years ago, apologized 8 years ago, and has never tweeted anything like that again.
Here's my problem with him particularly. I mean, the guy who started it is a piece of shit. I don't want to give him the time of day. I really think Disney handled it poorly, and I think they're a bit hypocritical because first of all, it was 10 years ago. It was addressed 5 years ago. He took the time to delete the tweets. Cernovich
apologized.
Right, Cernovich used an archive program to find the tweets and make them resurface. But Disney knew about these 5 years ago, and they probably knew about them prior to that. So my problem is that, and I love Bobcat Goldthwait.
Oh yeah,
for what he's done,
what he did,
because
Bobcat's great.
Disney has aligned themselves in the past with people who have sordid senses of humor. James Woods.
Oh jeez.
I mean, that guy is like.
He says things on a daily basis that's a million times worse than what James Gunn was joking about.
Exactly. It's true. Right, and I mean he's been tied to Disney projects. And there have been others. So it's just, to me, it's just
Mickey's being a bitch.
Yeah, no, it's I think there was a knee-jerk reaction that didn't need to be made. And the problem I have with it is they gave it credibility, which allowed this other stuff to happen. Because honestly, if Disney had just done absolutely zero, 90% of the world wouldn't have even known about this. They would have
forgotten a day later.
Over, especially because this all happened. As far as like the pop culture community is concerned, this all happened in the midst of San Diego Comic-Con, which means all of this other really big pop culture news is breaking like every 30 or 40 minutes. It would have been buried inside of, it would have been buried between breakfast and dinner if Disney hadn't allowed it to happen. And now they've given these people ammo. That's the problem that I have. They've given them. These people are now weaponized.
Yeah, they're like, oh, this worked. Let's do this again. Right. It's like the Raptors in Jurassic Park. Like, they keep testing the fences until they find a weak spot.
Right.
Like, and that's what happened.
Right.
That is a great analogy.
It is a great
And it's just, I don't know. It's just really disingenuous. And then, like, the ones from Patton Oswalt was, like, very interesting because it was him doing a series of tweets, ironically, as like a trolling right winger. And like I even saw lots of like hardcore conservatives being like, yo guys, come on, like you're taking this out of context. Like you're not reading these threads in the right order. So of course it looks like that's what he's saying, but it's not at all.
And in Patton's case, the pedo joke he was making was a foot joke.
Not even that one.
He capitalized the spelling to show that he was talking about podiatry, not pedophilia.
Yeah.
And that was the first one they put out there. Like, look at this joke. It's like, yeah, but look how he's spelling it. It's all in capitals to separate it from the rest of the world. The rest of the word. It's obvious what he's talking about. And then, you, like what Giddle was saying, you look at the context of the multiple posts and you see, oh, there's a little story here. There's the explanation. There's the exaggeration. There's the joke.
I've been blocking a lot of people on Twitter this past week. Feels good.
Oh yeah, I mean, I saw you made the post, and then like even people posted on Matt's post, like, well, he made pedophile jokes, so he's a pedophile. It's like, no, dude, like that just doesn't work that way.
It doesn't work that well. And some guy asked me. Some guy was like, "Well, if you had kids,
I did see that.
Would you let your kid spend the day with James Gunn? And if your answer is no, you're a complete hypocrite." And I was like, yeah, I'd absolutely let my kid spend the day with James Gunn.
Get me a picture.
Fucking hell, yeah. Like, what you want? You want to help my kid write a movie script? Let's do it. I love Slither.
I got a free Groot shirt.
Slither was great.
Fuck Guardians. Let's write Slither 2, James. Me and you and my kid. Let's do it. And then someone was like, well, you're a terrible dad. And I was like, no, because I don't believe for 1 second that James Gunn is an actual pedophile.
Right.
No.
Like Ted Cruz.
There's no evidence.
I saw the Ted Cruz, and I don't really talk about that much political stuff, but when I saw the Ted Cruz thing, he's like, he should be prosecuted, if evidence comes out that he is a pedophile. It's like, holy fuck, dude, you got your own problems to deal with.
Deal with your
nonsense, and look at all the evidence leading up to James Gunn here was not conclusive.
Yeah.
And if anything, that video of Ted Cruz trying to kiss his daughter would make anyone think he's the pedophile. With her just like pulling her face away, and he stares at the camera with his little
get over
face.
here.
Listen, the president is grabbing pussy. The president is grabbing pussies, so everything else is just okay at this point. Everything else is greenlit.
See, this is why
it's just stupid, and it's just this idea too that I've seen a lot of people saying on Twitter with the whole conversation is that like they got one of ours, we're getting one of theirs. It's like, what is this? Like, what world do we live in? It's like these are comedians. Like it's not an eye for an eye situation.
Right. That's why I'm happy with just my 12 Twitter followers right now. We're cool.
Yeah, you guys are good
right now. We're cool.
Trevins.
The most the Trevins. Wow. That's what I should call them.
That's your fan base, the Trevins.
The Trevins.
You're welcome.
The Trevins.
The Trevins.
And your mom doesn't count.
Oh, well, then the 11 followers that I have. I mean, the most political thing on my Twitter is Matt.
The Trelevins.
That's it. Sorry.
Yeah.
I don't mean to be, but
jeez.
It was just so weird
got all
to see.
porn stars and you being all ruined my Twitter feed.
I mean, I could add to the porn stars if you.
Oh, that'd be nice.
It was so weird to see, like Matt saying, the knee-jerk reaction. This is a guy that made Disney and Marvel over $1.5 billion for 2 movies.
I really think that at some point, I honestly really think at some point Disney is going to really regret the decision. They're either going to go back on it or they're going to regret it.
I think they'll go back on it.
They pissed off Dave Bautista, so
they'll
Karen Gillan. They also pissed off
Chris Pratt. Well, Chris Pratt did it in a way where he was quoting. Yeah. It was brilliant, but it's because I didn't know he was that religious of a guy.
He's pretty religious,
but the way he quoted it and listed the passage was using their own technique against them.
Yeah.
And he said, I'll put this out here and you can take it for whatever, interpret it however you want. And you saw he was defending James Gunn by using their own methods against them. But yeah, a lot of people are not happy with this. They probably will have to go and bring him back, but they'll have to go and do, like, publicly announce there'll be a formal investigation and all this other stuff, just so Disney can go through proper channels.
I don't think they'll do it.
I honestly,
as a PR move, they're going to have to.
No, I know
they can't just say, you know what, we screwed up, we brought him back.
What Trevor's saying is he doesn't think they're even going to bring them back.
No, I don't
I think they will.
Yeah,
I think they will because
I hope they do.
But Mike Cernovich got some guy fired from MSNBC like a year ago. And like MSNBC after like 2 months was like, oh, we did some investigation and like they had to hire him back because like they were like, yeah, this guy was just taking shit out of context. We had a knee-jerk reaction that was to fire him. But then like after doing an investigation, we're like, yeah, that was not what happened at all. And they gave him the job back.
Yeah, Mickey's not going to say that he was wrong ever.
I don't know.
Well, I mean,
I'm convinced by the way that
you know what? You know why they have that little warning on the movies about like no animals were harmed in the making of this, because Disney killed a bunch of animals by throwing lemmings off a cliff and like knocking horses off a cliff and killing them.
What the
Where
fuck
is that
from?
from?
Yeah, what the hell are we talking about?
What is that from?
Is that Lion King 4?
No, like there was like the world of nature. Like, you know, the whole theory that lemmings fall off a cliff was because some dude was sitting in front of a camera throwing them off a cliff in that video.
Wait a minute.
And a bunch of horses died. They ran off a cliff too. And that's why they have to have the warnings on there. That's Disney.
Where did
Song
you
of the
see
South
that?
Disney.
Oh, the fake lemming death. Here it is on Snopes. Let's see what it says. Did Disney fake lemming deaths for the nature documentary White Wilderness? Let's see. Here's the claim. Filmmakers staged lemming deaths for the scenes in the nature documentary White Wilderness. The origin. Wait a minute.
Oh, this is riveting.
This is just, it's taking forever. Usually, this is weird. There's a whole bunch of stuff they're not really saying, because usually they have in big red letters at the top, fact or true.
But yeah, but like either way, before you go on a Wikipedia wormhole here, but like this is stuff Disney did in the past. Like that's far worse than like telling pedophile jokes. Like you're throwing animals off a cliff.
Yeah.
Like it's pretty fucked up.
This is leading towards that it being true. Wow. Okay. What is that?
Yeah, it says. However, the animals in the.
Right?
No, it says here the urban myth became widespread of this behavior after it was shown in the Walt Disney documentary White Wilderness in 1958. However, the animals in the film are not wild animals jumping off a cliff voluntarily. Rather, they were brought by the producers and pushed over the edge of the cliff. Instead of suicidal behavior, which explains the drastic fluctuations in size, they were actually just thrown off the side of the cliff.
Why are you smiling when you read that?
Yeah, I'm seeing a few articles here where they're listing.
What's wrong with you, kiddles?
Wow.
Because it's fucked up.
This article says, was this cruel? Definitely. But this was the 1950s. Good job, Gizmodo.
Well, yeah, before I derailed that whole conversation with lemmings.
No, but I didn't know that. And you can't just state something like that without having some kind of backup on it.
Oh, yeah, I knew that because they told us that in college.
Yeah,
so I went to film school.
you need
They're
to
like,
have
don't
proof.
throw animals off a cliff. And we're like, why? And they're like, this is why. I was like, oh, shit.
That's a high-level education right there.
So they'll never do that
State
Whacking
school.
Day documentary.
Wow.
But yeah, I don't know, man. Like everyone's got skeletons in their closet or on the edge of a cliff. And
Matt had brought up a point that people were getting mad and comparing it to Roseanne, and we didn't elaborate enough on it. The difference was that Roseanne did something now, and that's what caused a big problem. The people who were sort of getting in trouble, or James Gunn, who did get in trouble, was all for stuff they did in their past, and has even had said and shown proof that he has apologized for stuff he did in the past and apologized in the past for that stuff.
Roseanne didn't get fired for destroying the national anthem years ago.
Right.
And not only that, but
she didn't get fired for her other tweets either from like 9 years ago. Same like racist tweets that she made.
Exactly. So she, look, and Roseanne has also shown zero signs of remorse because she continues to be a big old piece of shit. So
did you see her
Talked
YouTube
about the politicalness?
Did you see her?
I thought pieces of shit were okay.
That's not political. That's a character trait.
You eat pieces of shit for breakfast?
I didn't say right
the shit
wing.
poop.
I didn't say right wing political shit. I just said political shit.
Called the shit poop.
Did you see her?
Wait, isn't like Roseanne going to be on Hannity tonight too? Like,
she was on.
Oh well, that's great.
Was it? Yeah, was it tonight or was it last night? No, she was on that. She's doing this other podcast too with some famous rabbi. She did it
Shmuley
before.
Bodega.
Yeah.
I just fucking love that name, Shmuley Bodega. I'm sorry. He ran for like councilman of Staten Island, and the commercials were priceless.
So she's doing that podcast again, and you're right. I did see something this morning that she was going to do Hannity. I think I'll check that out. But you see that YouTube video that she did?
No, I don't.
You should.
No.
She's crazy because she's talking about I'm doing this.
She's blonde now.
From my own studio, so I can tell my side and how everything goes. And if you fast forward a little bit, she starts yelling. She's like, "I thought she was white." Like she starts screaming like a crazy woman.
She didn't say she.
Matt,
she said, "I thought the bitch."
But I don't.
Oh, the bitch.
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought the bitch was white.
And I just don't believe that.
Matt, you need to watch it just for entertainment purpose.
Yeah. All right.
And to educate yourself.
But here's the thing: like when I watched this,
educate yourself.
But like when I saw that clip, I was like, this seems like her going over the top and like now trying to make a joke about it. Like that didn't seem like she was really saying that.
Well,
I don't know.
She is a comic, so I wouldn't put it past her.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like I don't know.
But anyway, it's still an entertaining watch.
I also think there's a difference between going after a specific person as opposed to making a generalized comment.
Yeah. Well, and some of the people on some of the people on Twitter were fucking nasty too.
If James Gunn had made the comment about like Millie Bobby Brown, right? Okay, that's bad.
Yeah,
I get that.
I was gonna, that'd be bad.
I get. Okay, yeah, fired.
She's only 11.
That's what I'm saying. But I mean, does that make sense? Like his were kind of. Anyway, I don't want to talk about this anymore. I'm done.
Trevor's not taking this seriously.
Character name.
No, I'm taking you seriously. I just don't know. I'm uneducated about all of this stuff. Like I said, I don't watch the news. I don't try to read the newspaper because I can't read, and my life is better for it.
Well,
the world is shit. People suck. I just really want to go see CKY tomorrow and have a beer.
Let me move to this particular incident, and then we'll take a break. The news with Chris Hardwick.
Yes.
All right. This ties in it's sort of like a side story to everything that's been going on. This involves more the Me Too movement rather than, this Hollywood outrage kind of movement. So AMC announced that he will be coming back for when the mid-season of Fear the Walking Dead returns. He will return to Talking Dead.
Right.
They'll bring the show back. They've also said through their investigation, they've concluded that the evidence, there was no evidence against Chris Hardwick, and all the details show that, Chris wasn't
in the wrong,
or wasn't deserving of being suspended. Also, I think that there was possibly, had they not sorted this out, there was probably a huge lawsuit against AMC
coming
in the wings if they said this was a permanent firing.
But I'm sure he's got very, very good lawyers. I'm sure
he does, and so he's coming back now. There's 50-50 on social media that people are happy he's coming back. There's a lot of people who are outraged that he's coming back because that means that nobody's believing the girl who made these claims. And people are fighting. It's like, well, she didn't say his name, and she didn't present the proof that she said she had. And I've seen arguments. Well, why does she need to present the proof in order for you to believe her? It's like it's kind of the way it works.
Well, legally that's how it works.
Legally, that's the way it works.
And she said she had it.
Right. But now this is where it gets really interesting. So she said, I didn't mention your name because I didn't want to cause problems with him, and I didn't release this stuff because I didn't want to ruin his career. But all of which ruined his career, right?
But didn't.
So in the legal matters, with the from what I was reading with the lawyers that he has, they stated, well, she didn't mention his name and she didn't present any proof, so we have no evidence that any of this is true. And they have all this testimony from his wife and ex-girlfriend saying to the contrary. During the time they've known him, they've never seen him demonstrate these qualities or have these moments or any of that stuff. So a lot of the stuff she put out when she was trying to passively attack him was used against her in the legal aspect, saying this is what it was.
Well, you're going to see one of two things happen now. It's either going to die on the vine,
right,
or she's going to come forward with a bunch of evidence. My only comment on this is look, I mean, whatever, if they rehired him, they rehired him. If he's innocent, that's great. But all the people that are saying, well, I mean, all of his other girlfriends said he was great. My only comment to that is just because he was great to all these other people doesn't mean he wasn't a complete and utter shithead to her. I'm not saying he was. Right. I'm just saying that the ball is in her court.
Right.
If she has evidence and she has proof to back up what she said, now is the time to come forward.
Of course.
Or she drops it right before the mid-season of Talking Dead when he's about to air, and then she's like, "Oh, here's all the evidence."
Right.
And then that makes her look really shitty too.
Well, no, because she'll say that she has a legal team and that they had vetted it, and this is when they said to release it, and it wasn't her decision. Blah blah blah. She'll protect herself if that's the case.
I don't get the fact where, in a situation like this, a lot of people say you should believe the woman who's making these allegations.
Right.
Okay. In her situation, this particular one, Chloe's situation, she didn't do it the way other people do it. She didn't release the name. She said she had evidence. She didn't release evidence. She didn't do any of this stuff, right? So she did it in a different way. When people said, well, where's the evidence then her defenders are like, why do you need the evidence? Why can't you just believe her?
It's not how it works.
In this situation, when it goes to something legal, if they fire him, there's still legality going on with this company that if he sues, then this comes into play. You can't do that.
Oh, sure.
and then walk away like, why do I have to present anything to you? No, you do. You caused a big problem, and we're not saying that this situation didn't happen to you, and if it did, we're sorry. But this is a big legal brouhaha. You need to now present this information that you claim that you've had.
I mean, the only other thing I can think would happen. Well, there was a couple of things. Remember when she did this, she wrote that article, she wrote that piece, but she didn't announce that she had written it. She didn't post a link to it. Mm-hmm. It just sort of appeared on their website. It was
that site called the Medium, right?
Whatever site she writes for.
I think it was Medium.
It kind of just appeared on the website. A bunch of people found it, because I guess if you on that site, you can follow a certain writer. A bunch of people found it.
Right.
And then they kind of blew it up, but she didn't. Now, she did that for one of two reasons. Either that was a way of insulating herself from some sort of potential libel lawsuit, because I wonder if that's where he's going to go next, or if he's going to just let it go.
Right.
Because he could sue her. Yeah. He could sue her.
He could.
And for libel or slander, I forget which one is in writing. Slander is in writing.
I think libel.
Libel is
in writing.
Libel is in writing. Slander is verbal.
So he could sue her for libel. I don't know. I mean, look, if she has evidence, now's the time. Now or sometime in the near future.
She's going to have to, but this is what I don't get the defenders, where if it gets to be this bad,
right?
And then her defenders are saying, it's like, why does she have to prove this to you? It's like, because she kind of has to.
Well, yeah.
This is a huge ordeal, because if he's wrong and he did all this stuff and she has the proof, he is a piece of shit and he needs to be handled.
At this point, it's so far developed,
right,
that she has no choice.
She could be subpoenaed if he does.
She has to provide.
And
it.
if she doesn't have the evidence on the other side of it, and he did no wrong, he needs to be cleared of that. He needs to be treated fair. This whole social media being judge, jury, and executioner thing can't stand. That can't be the way we function. You can say something, and then public opinion is one thing, but public opinion can't be the end all be all.
Yeah,
like this person is never allowed to work again. This person's never allowed to have anything, in their life, because they did one particular thing, right or wrong, good or bad.
Yeah,
it's like it can't. It's like you can bring the allegations up, but then it has to be. You have to call the cops. You have to get a lawyer. You have to deal with it that way too. You can't just put it out on Twitter for whatever situation and it said, "Well, social media will handle this," because we can't survive in a society like that.
We have been, but yes, you're right.
We have been. We just can't. We can't. It's got to stop.
Of course it does, but it has to stop on every level.
Of course it does. But it's got to start somewhere.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. For sure. Look,
and again, not saying that she's lying, not saying that she doesn't have any claim to any of this stuff.
As far as
not
I'm
saying
concerned,
that at all.
As far as I'm concerned, right. The jury is still out for me. I don't believe just because AMC rehired him, that means he's innocent.
Right.
But I think now is the time. If she has something, she needs to present it. And if she doesn't and it dies on the vine, then we'll never know. But I don't think that's right either. So.
I feel like personally, I feel like everything kind of went I know you're saying that there was this big social media backlash, which I get, but also it also kind of played out the way it should have played out in a way, because they removed him. They didn't fire him right away. They did their own investigation.
AMC handled it very smart. They didn't fire him like some companies would have.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
They have the right to do this too. Even if it wasn't this situation, they said, "Look, we're going to suspend the show. We're going to pull it for this season while we figure out what we're going to do with it." They have every right to do that, and they did that. They didn't fire him. They were smart enough to realize to not jump to conclusions. Sorry, go ahead.
And they did all that, and then they came back with their conclusion. They're like, based on the evidence we've seen, we've deemed that this didn't play out the way it did, and then they rehired him back. So at the end of the day, no one's career was actually hurt by it. If anything, if she ends up made up this whole story, then her career will end up hurting in the long run from all this. You know what I mean?
Well, no, there's still. I mean, I don't know what happened with his NBC deal, because he had the wall. Plus, he was doing Red Nose Day stuff, and I think once in a while he was doing some kind of Today Show correspondence or something.
Did he get fired from all those things?
I think he's.
For all those
I don't know the outcome of it, but I think he was put on hold too. He was not fired from that. But things like this can cause huge problems and the wrong kind of problems before it can be sorted out to figure out what the person did right or wrong.
Right.
And that's the dangerous territory that we're in now, where look at the cases of worse stories. Bill Cosby, Harvey Weinstein, right? Kevin Spacey. people had no other way to come out with it, so they made their allegation. But they also went the other route of, look, we talked to lawyers, we talked to the cops.
Sure.
There was a lot of problems with the Cosby case at first because a lot of these stories had statute of limitations.
Sure.
So, but they went the right route. They came out and said this is what happened, but they went to the cops, they went to the lawyers, tried to do everything the right way until they found somebody who was within the statute of limitations that they could bring legal charges on. Same thing with Harvey Weinstein.
For sure.
This situation, if this was what it was, you should have, or did she go to the cops? Did she go to the lawyers?
Right.
That's the next step in this thing. You can't just make these allegations and not follow through to be justified on it. You know, you can't just put it out there like a teenager on social media is saying, this person slept with that person, and then walk away from it, lighting the match and watching it burn.
And running away, yeah.
It's just, everything's got to stop at some point. You know, it's gone too far. When does it stop and start coming back? Like, where's the balance to push it back into the middle where we're being able to function again as a society?
I don't know that we'll ever get back there. We'll see.
I don't know. And the other thing that, like, you know, just like one last thing about this is that, like, you know, I'm like with Matt. I don't know who to believe in this. I don't know the evidence. Like, I know people who've been like horrible to people in one relationship and then been great to people in the next. So you never know like what people are going to do. But if it does like turn out that she made up some of this stuff, it's going to hurt the Me Too movement a lot too, because people are going to be like, oh, look what she tried. She tried to get this guy in trouble. And then people are not going to believe like actual victims. It's like, you know, the girl who cried wolf in a way. And like, I feel bad for whoever gets, really, assaulted and hurt. And then like something like this can make people doubt it, you know?
I think both sides of an issue like this don't realize the power that they're messing with social media, where they start off with one thing, a movement, right?
Right.
And they said, you should just believe these people because they said this, you know, and that's how the whole movement starts and builds. But then when it comes to the other side, and then there's something on the other side attacking the side that's the movement, and it maybe has legitimate cause, and says, well, you should just believe this because it's the same principle as what the other side was doing, and they say, no, it can't be that way, then that discredits the movement that they were starting in the first place. So now when that eventually happens, the Me Too movement, the Time's Up movement, all those things like that, when there's stuff that points the finger back on their side legitimately, it defeats the whole point of everything you were trying to do because you were so militant about it. You know, you got to take a stand and be firm, but you also got to be reasonable on some of the things that you're doing. Sure. When you go so far one direction and just say, believe it blindly, and then it happens on the other side, and you say, no, we need evidence of that. No, you don't. You can just believe it blindly. You now just decredited everything you worked so hard for.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm saying things go too far. There's got to be something that pushes back and brings it back to the middle so that everybody can function. I don't know. It's such anxiety reading all this stuff because it doesn't stop.
Of course.
It doesn't stop.
I removed myself from it after a while. That's why I've just started blocking people. I just
Can you block Trevor so he goes down to 10?
No.
Trevins?
Please, no.
No, I like Trevor.
Stop it. I tweet all positive things.
I like Trevor.
It's mostly about this.
I have the power.
All right. Let's take a break. When we come back, we're going to speed through San Diego Comic-Con and then get out of here. We'll be right back.
It's Erik Nagel. Eric, Matt, I think Giddles is in there too. Anyway, the show will be right back. It's Erik Nagel. Follow the show on Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, YouTube, and Facebook at It's Erik Nagel.
Hey, it's Theo Rossi. You're listening to It's Erik Nagel.
Oh, you got Fla-Vor-Ice.
I was going to say, you dick. You didn't go to the bathroom. You got Fla-Vor-Ice.
Giddles went and got,
and I got a Fla-Vor-Ice.
and you didn't bring anything back for us.
Oh, here you go.
Damn it. Welcome back to It's Erik Nagel. It's me, Matt O.G., Giddles eating Fla-Vor-Ice.
I love Fla-Vor-Ice.
What's green?
Trev's and Dev's lime, right?
I don't know.
I have
Green
no idea.
tastes
They all
like
taste the
green.
same.
Oh.
It does. Green always tastes like, this is green.
Well,
I think it's apple.
I mean,
Can I make a complaint about the craft services here at the studio?
No. Yes. That we don't have Fla-Vor-Ice?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I can try to
Look at this.
Fla-Vor-Ice, but
It's like everything's green. I got green Lucky Charms. I got a Fla-Vor-Ice.
another dollar store purchase, I see.
Let's keep it be alive.
But Fla-Vor-Ice tastes exactly like the color.
It does.
Like purple tastes like purple, red tastes like red. None of it tastes like anything other than the color.
You know what it tastes like? You remember the back in the day they had those little plastic, they looked like grenades?
Oh, yeah.
With the tin foil on it?
Yeah.
And then you pull that out, the color flavored drinks that they'd have at school,
but to
or
me,
the ice cream man.
that tasted like flavored cancer, so that was a little bit different.
It was like if you melted down the wax lips.
Yeah.
That's what it tasted like.
I was going to say, if you melted down the cancer.
This tastes like liquid cancer. And show title.
No.
Show title, Liquid Cancer.
I mean, that'll download well, but we might get flagged. So.
Hopefully our show will metastasize to other members.
We're terrible people. Listen to us. 651 Smithers, please.
We didn't even tweet this out 9 years ago. We just made this joke live.
Quick look at the box office from this weekend. The Equalizer Part 2 was number 1.
Barely.
Mamma Mia, number 2, was number 2, and it is number 2. Halloween, Hotel Transylvania 3 coming in number 3. It's been doing very well. Very surprising.
I like the Hotel Transylvania
I just saw the
franchise.
second one for the first time on FXX. It was really good.
They're entertaining.
They are very good.
Enjoy them.
Number 4, Ant-Man and the Wasp, and 5, Incredibles 2, still holding on. Everything is doing very well. San Diego Comic-Con has come and gone, and unfortunately, as we have stated many times, we were not there.
Yes.
Although I think it was okay for us not to be there, because it didn't seem like a lot of major things were going on like they were in previous Comic-Cons when you and I were out there.
There's a lot of
I'm not
news
going to
that
lie.
came-
Matt looks like he wants to punch you after you
There's
just
a
said
lot
that.
of news that came
You
out
think
of San
so?
Diego. Yeah.
Okay.
Lots of trailers.
So let's go down and review what we learned from San Diego Comic-Con this
Well,
year.
I mean, I'm just gonna I'll rattle off the trailers that we saw at minimum.
Ready, go.
That were big. We got our first look at Titans, which is the first show coming to DC's new online streaming service.
Right. A lot of complaints with that, which is weird. What's the girl with the orange hair?
Starfire.
Starfire.
Yeah.
Was she not a black girl in the comic books?
Well, she's an alien in the comic books, and her skin is orange.
Okay, so why are people complaining? Because there's a black woman playing the part? Is that why people are upset?
No, people
Instead
are
of an
complaining-
alien?
People
Should've
are
went to an alien.
They should have. People are complaining about that show for a plethora of reasons.
Because Robin said the F word?
Some people think it looks too violent and grim dark. Some people are upset that the costumes are shitty, although I don't necessarily think they are. Some people are complaining about Starfire particularly for all the same reasons we complain about every character that's cast as someone of a person of color. So I don't know, but I actually think Titans looks good. But so we got that. In addition to that, we got the announcement that the Harley Quinn series is coming to the DC streaming universe. There's going to be
Are they really making a big push more for the streaming universe than they are, say, the CW? Because they used to throw all their stuff on the CW. Now is it all going to more to the streaming service?
They're developing stuff for the streaming service that would not fit elsewhere. I think
Like you
is what
can't
it
say
comes down
fuck Batman on CW.
to. Right.
You could. It just would be Batman.
The Harley Quinn
be that dropout.
The Harley Quinn show is going to be an animated show. There's going to be a Starfire show, and
Wait, there's a Starfire show outside of Titans?
Starfire, Stargirl. Sorry, and
Starfire 64.
I don't know Stargirl. Okay,
Starfire.
I'll have to look that up.
and she was on Legends of Tomorrow, Stargirl, with the Justice Society of America team.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Oh, so is it set back in the 40s?
I don't know because Stargirl has kind of been around.
Yeah, but her origin was in that time period, right?
so,
Okay.
And there was Young Justice is coming back as well. So there was that. We got a trailer for
What's
Orville.
Young Justice?
It was the animated show that had Speedy, Artemis, Aqualad, Cyborg might have been on that show. I think
Yeah, I've
Robin
never
might have been
seen
on that
that. Okay.
show. It was a pretty good show. It was on for 4 or 5 seasons on whatever animated channel had it. Maybe it was Cartoon Network. We got trailers for the Orville, which is coming back in December. That looks really good. I'm pretty excited for that. Movie-wise, we got a trailer for Aquaman, which was a pretty big one. We got the trailer for Shazam. Also
Shazam!
dropped, which I'm more excited for
Kyle.
Shazam than I am Aquaman.
Somebody beat me to the tweet when I saw the trailer, and the person who beat me was actually Anthony.
Okay.
From Opie and Anthony. Oh, so it's the superheroes meet big. That's exactly what it is.
But I mean, you can make that joke, and that joke is relevant and funny, and that it's sort of true. But we're talking about a character that dates back to like the 40s, I think.
Oh,
Like,
nine years from now, we're gonna have to retract the jokes.
Yes, right, exactly. But because big refers to his penis. Yes. So we got the Shazam trailer, which I think looks really good. I'm excited.
Did you ever see Harvey Birdman?
I did see Harvey.
Remember
Birdman.
when they had the Indian guy where you go, "Anun Chuck," and he's going really big, and they're all just pointing under his loincloth because his dick got
huge. So yeah, I think that looks good. Aquaman looks meh.
It looks like Disney's on Little Mermaid.
Yeah,
especially
like
the poster.
The poster
because he's dead center in all the fish and characters, everything all surrounding around him. But they're using vivid colors that DC doesn't usually do to make it look like the Marvel universe.
If there was a singing crab, it just would be perfect.
It would be
right
perfect.
In the corner. Like it's just you could just tell it's singing.
Right.
We got a trailer for Godzilla, King of the Monsters.
I'm very excited about this.
I'm also very meh on that.
Really?
That the trailer wasn't selling it for me. I don't know. I mean, I'll see it probably.
What excited you the most? We get a lot of mess from you.
Trailer wise,
yes.
Glass. I think was probably
absolutely.
I laughed pretty hard during that trailer.
Was probably one of my favorite trailers.
I have not seen any of the other two movies that are supposed to lead up to this one.
You didn't see Split?
Unbreakable.
No, I
Split?
have it. I have not seen Split, and I have not.
I
seen,
saw Split first, and then
it was funny.
The teaser at the end,
right?
So I had to go back and watch Unbreakable.
Yeah,
and I watched it actually like 2 weeks ago. So like, I found it very interesting. But so I'm actually pumped if they're going to cross these two over. I'm pumped to see this movie.
Unbreakable is pretty polarizing.
Yeah,
a lot of people hate that movie
because of Kimmy Schmidt.
No, I think people just.
Yeah.
I don't. It was a slow burn. That movie.
Absolutely.
The build up was very funny. It was a slow burn. instead of what's his name is Mr. Glass. It's Titus Andromeda. Totally different film. Unbreakable was a slow burn.
You don't know who you're messing with.
It wasn't like
you were too good at that.
I watched the show. It's good.
Punch a minute, blow them up kind of movie.
Right.
But I liked it. I liked it when it came out.
I loved that sounds terrible. The ending I didn't see necessarily, because I went into it completely blind.
Right.
Well, then you're not going to see anything.
Damn it.
Yeah. Damn it.
You need the phone sex line.
Yeah. How about this? I knew nothing about this movie, unlike Infinity Wars now. Giddles.
They showed the trailer, by the way, during Conan. Conan did his shows in Comic-Con, like he's done for the last few years.
Right.
He switched his schedule, though. Instead of doing like Tuesday through Friday, he did Wednesday through Sunday. So Saturday and Sunday nights, he did new shows.
Yeah.
And was it the last night or the second to last night? He had the cast of Glass come out, and people went nuts because Bruce Willis,
Samuel Jackson,
and they showed the trailer, and I was like, this is insane. And then all of a sudden Conan's like, so this kind of works into the other two movies. I was like, what other two movies? I didn't know that M. Night Shyamalan was doing a trilogy of all this stuff. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna have to watch this.
I don't think M. Night Shyamalan knew. I think he just I made this movie.
Whoops. I made a trilogy.
Yeah.
It's the MNSCU, the M. Night Shyamalan Cinematic Universe.
There you go.
They make a sequel to Signs. I'm just gonna hit them.
We also got a trailer.
The signs say "Go back," lots of water.
We got a trailer for season 2 of The Gifted.
I saw that they made an emphasis. There's a really big point where they said the X-Men don't exist anymore.
They did that in season 1 as well.
All right, because I thought they were leaning heavy on it for season 2. So I was wondering if there was going to be some sort of resurgence.
So I'm interested. I really liked The Gifted season 1. It was actually one
I
of my
forgot
favorite
to
shows
finish
last season.
it, but I saw the majority of it, and it was really good.
There was a new trailer for Disenchantment, which is coming next month, a couple of weeks away.
By the way,
on that.
I got the screeners for it. So.
Oh, did you?
We cannot talk about it until the embargo date.
You just talked about it.
You literally told everybody.
We can't actually talk about it.
What
we can say that we got the.
So we can watch
Dumbledore
it.
dies.
I'm excited to see. This. First of all, because I think it looks funny, but I'm also excited to see how he handles more sort of serialized story arc storytelling. It's a little bit different than what he
episodic
does.
One, yeah.
I mean, like Simpsons Futurama, there were things that impacted future episodes, but this looks like it's a solid serialized story with an arc.
They had a big display on the floor of Comic-Con that I was seeing
for Disenchantment.
It looked amazing, and Matt Groening showed up.
Oh,
the one
nice.
year we didn't go, and he was there. And I was just screaming and yelling.
Well, Eric's not going to be there? Oh, I guess I can go now.
I can go now. There was a new trailer
he does
for
know about me.
Deadly Class.
I don't know what that is.
Deadly Class is coming to Sci-Fi. It's the new series by the Russo brothers. Of course, the Russo brothers are behind Infinity War, Winter Soldier, and a bunch of other films. But they're adapting this comic book that's sort of about assassins and like it's like the kids of assassins becoming. The comic's really good. I've read the first trade. And
is it called Class Assassins? And it's about assassins go to school?
No, it's called Deadly Class. I led in with that. We got a new trailer for Battle Angel.
You're trying to
as well.
I am. Battle Angel. I saw that trailer not too long ago. It was on front of one of the movies. Oh, it's a new one.
This is a new one.
It does look good. I don't know. It's an old anime series that people love.
It is.
I have not. I still have to look for it. I have to sign up for that Crunchyroll thing.
It's been a passion project for James Cameron for like 15 years. So Cameron is still producing, and Robert Rodriguez is directing.
Oh, is that why we haven't seen Avatar?
Yes, exactly. Okay. Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Grindelwald. We got a new trailer for that.
And Johnny Depp showed up at the panel.
Yes,
he out of nowhere, the lights flickered and went off, and then all of a sudden he appeared.
Right. We got a trailer for Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles,
which Matt is not a fan of.
There is absolutely nothing about that trailer that is appealing to me.
Okay.
But my childhood is intact.
And you'll buy the Donatello figure when
I will buy the Donatello figure when it comes out.
Of course.
Because I have the disease.
Yeah.
But the show is just not at all appealing to me. And then also we got a trailer for Iron Fist Season 2.
It doesn't look as dumb as the first season, and he doesn't look as annoying as he was in the Defenders.
Yeah, I mean, it looks all right.
Hopefully he's grown up.
I'm trying to think. What other...
I want to ask you real quick about... Go back to Godzilla that you mentioned.
Sure.
Are you not a fan of the monster movies like that, or...
No, I mean, like, I like...
You just don't like what they're doing.
No, I like Pacific Rim. I did not see the last Kong movie, which I guess is the lead-in to this.
No, from what I understand,
yes,
is this is a second Godzilla movie, King of the Monsters, where the end of that will then lead. The end of that will lead into the third Godzilla movie, which will be Godzilla vs. King Kong.
Yes, but at the end of the last Kong movie,
I didn't see
the after credit stinger.
Yeah.
Was they're in a cave on Skull Island, and there are cave paintings that have Godzilla and King Ghidorah. In the cave paintings.
And that's the three-headed dragon thing,
That
right?
is the three-headed dragon thing, correct. So, I mean, look, Mothra looks cool, Ghidorah looks cool, Godzilla looks cool. But I don't like... The premise of the movie seems really weird. Like, they're trying to convince me somehow that
these creatures need to be around or else the world's going to die.
Yeah, and I'm not sure I'm buying to me it sounds like, all right, we want a movie with all the monsters. How do we do it? Well, someone thinks they need to be around. Done.
Cool. Got it.
And what's the love story?
Right. Like, I don't know. Like, I mean, I'll give it another trailer try because this was kind of a teaser.
The worst part of the Godzilla movies is always the very first Godzilla movie, the old black and white one. You understood the human presence because they were trying to defend Tokyo from Godzilla.
Sure.
But anytime they try to do a movie past that, it's like, stop with the human interaction. We don't need to keep cutting back to seeing the guy running a Jeep as, along a parallel street while Godzilla is coming through the city. It's like, you don't need that interaction anymore. Just let the monsters do what they do.
Well, originally it's the people versus Godzilla, and then it becomes Godzilla versus Mothra.
Larry Flint.
Yeah.
All right.
Godzilla attack!
I'm not gonna lie, I'd see that movie.
I think I would see that too.
Godzilla versus Larry Flint.
Woody Harrelson's just running away in a
Put
wheelchair.
that down for a possible title. No, because I'm a big Godzilla fan. I was excited for seeing this, but also there's some Godzilla properties on Netflix if you haven't seen.
Yeah.
Last year they had Godzilla Planet of the Monsters, which is an anime piece, was really good. I just found out they had another one that came on that I haven't seen yet. It's called Godzilla City on the Edge of Battle.
Okay.
So I'm going to go check that out as well. I looked at the artwork for that. Godzilla looks jacked.
Right.
And I was like, this looks awesome. I've always been a big Godzilla fan.
Godzilla's present.
Now in this trailer, because I haven't seen it yet, is Matthew Broderick and Hank Azaria back?
Yes, they are.
They brought him back?
Yeah.
Yes.
And I'm going to see it.
They just happen to be coming out of a bodega while the foot comes down and stamps on both of them, and that's their appearance.
I'm not going to lie.
It's a quick cameo.
Hank Azaria is doing a poo, too, so it really is social commentary.
He's running the bodega.
Yeah.
Okay.
There you go.
Wait, what's the name of the new Godzilla movie?
Godzilla
King of
vs.
the
Larry
Monsters.
Flint.
Oh. I thought it was Word to Your Mothra.
Oh.
No, that'll be the Mothra spinoff.
And then he puts on the shades.
When somehow he winds up in
it.
South Central California.
It's Mothra versus the Moth from Silence of the Lambs. In Star Wars news, they announced that Clone Wars is coming back for its final season.
Right. Were you excited about that?
I am, because I really like that show.
Yeah, and I thought you told me that it was done.
It was done. It was canceled. And then what they did was they released 9 episodes from the final season, and they called them the Lost Missions. But what they're doing now is they're releasing the full final season of the show, which should allow them to wrap up properly some of the loose ends.
Okay.
So there was that. In other DC film universe, we got some news surrounding the Joker movies. Zazie Beetz has been cast in the film.
Yeah.
You okay?
And Robert De Niro is potentially circling it as well.
Boo.
But in an unknown role. Who knows what he's going to be playing? Maybe he's going to be playing like the nightclub owner.
Maybe he's the Joker's dad.
Yeah, who knows? Who knows? So
it's just Dirty Grandpa too.
So
you laughing at me? You laughing at me?
I mean, there was some other stuff. There were some toy-related things, and
well, there's some TV stuff that I wanted to touch on.
Touch the TV.
One, Andrew Lincoln announced formally that he was leaving
Walking Dead, which
Walking
everybody
Dead season
knew
9.
was coming.
Yeah, but did you hear the way he announced it?
It also sounds very open-ended.
It sounds like it wasn't up to him.
Yeah.
It sounded like the way he said it. Like he said the decision was made for him.
Right.
So it really sounds like if it was up to him, he wouldn't leave. So I don't know if he was like, hey, you want to resign or leave? Or we're going to fire you for some undisclosed reason of sexual assault?
Or we're going to kill you? Yeah.
We don't know that.
We don't know that. But still, it sounds like he's being forced out.
Right.
Well, he's leaving. I don't know. I know now they're not following the comic books for this storyline. They didn't follow the comic books with Carl. So they're now making their own.
Carl.
They're making their own creative changes for the television program. So that's going on with Walking Dead. Doctor Who was a big deal out there.
Yeah.
Jodie Whittaker came out as the 13th Doctor. She did we talked to the girl from Her Universe.
Yeah.
Ashley
Eckstein.
Who has their fashion show every year, and she was a surprise
Yeah.
runway model. Walked out in the Doctor Who outfit. Everyone thought it was cool. She flipped the hood, and everybody went nuts. The panel was big. And they really didn't reveal a whole hell of a lot of what is to come with Doctor Who, especially a release date.
Right.
We still don't know when that's coming. And we don't know what all these new companions, because she has 3 new companions in there. We don't know what the hell they're doing with her.
But we do know one thing, and that's Jodie Whittaker. Is that her name?
Yes.
Has all of the charming personality of a cardboard box.
Yes.
All of it.
Now, thank you for bringing this up, because Matt has been very vocal in the past that she was the worst part of Broadchurch.
I hated her
And
on Broadchurch.
Now they're bringing it to Doctor Who.
And so I have been really hesitant about her coming to Doctor Who. I don't think she's a great actress. I don't. I find
feel the
her
passion.
I find her annoying. And I watched that trailer and I was like, I'm going to give her a chance because I kind of liked the teaser. So I was like, all right, I'm going to watch the trailer. And then I watched the trailer and I was like, how cute. They dressed a cardboard box up as the Doctor. When's the real trailer? Oh.
Wah, wah.
And then the photo where she's standing next to the Lego version of her, and you're like, which is which?
Yeah.
The other thing that brought some fun outrage was when they debuted that she was going to have her own new sonic screwdriver. And the one I have here is the David Tennant one.
This is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard.
They bring this out, and it's kind of curved at the end, and people. It's
a dildo, isn't it? Is that what we're going for?
As soon as you say curved at the end,
I said it's not a sonic screwdriver; it's a personal massager. That was always the excuse.
I don't see it at all. Maybe just
obviously you're doing something wrong.
Well, clearly
it does. It curves up.
I have a hard time
thinking
about a cardboard box masturbating. I think that's the problem.
Obviously, you don't live the exciting life that I do.
She's putting the sonic screwdriver in. You know those little holes that you use to lift the box up, the grip holes. That's.
Or the air holes to keep the rabbit alive.
Whatever.
So there's that, but then another property that I know I was fond of, and I think Matt was as well, Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Oh yeah, I'm excited
Got
with this.
Josh Whedon announced out of nowhere, oh yeah, we're rebooting Buffy.
Yeah.
Here's the problem I have.
He's doing it?
He is doing it.
Yeah, he's doing it.
He's doing it. It would be the third time he's doing it.
And he said, but the new show is going to not continuing stories. It's a reboot. It's going to have more diverse characters. Now, here's my problem with this.
Werewolf?
One, because the show was amazing as it is. If you can still go back and watch it, yeah, it looks a little 90s, but the stories are still very good.
I still love that show.
There's a villain on that show that's still one of the most terrifying villains, which was the Gentleman. Where they're quiet and they just go right past your window like that. Terrifying.
It's a great episode. Hush.
The problem, Hush. Thank you. The other problem is that it was a mostly female-led cast with openly gay characters. What wasn't diverse about this?
Well,
towards the end, the last 2 seasons when she was resurrected, and they were finding all the other Slayers.
Jesus.
It opened it up that every Slayer of every nationality was part of the show.
Right.
So how did it need to be more diverse when he was the guy leading the charge for making it diverse?
Well, hold on. That was a plot point. Remember, there could only be one Slayer. Was the premise of that entire show,
right?
Up until the final season, and then Buffy does something with Dawn, and they change something, and so there could be more than one Slayer, and so all of these Slayers are instantaneously born.
Right.
And so naturally, with that in mind, it wouldn't just randomly pick a bunch of only white women. That would make sense. In his defense, the entire cast of Buffy was white. Was there a single not white, like pasty white person? And I love the show, and I'm normally not for this, but to me, this is just a okay, he's rebooting the show. He's deciding to make the Slayer black.
Well, Angel is Hispanic, wasn't he?
Do we get some of the vampires from Blade?
Yeah,
to cross over.
But I mean, think about it. Buffy, Willow, Oz, Xander.
Everything has to change because...
but this isn't everything has to change. This is a reboot, and they're making the Slayer black. Like, I don't know that that's everything has to change.
Yeah, Eric, you didn't hear? The new Frasier's going to be black.
Well, now that Frasier
Joe
is
Frazier.
coming back.
Joe Frazier punches Frasier in the face.
Weird and
Thank
exciting. No, but it just seems a little like, all right, we're going to redo it, but now because the whole cast was this, we have to change it to make it.
But I don't think he's...
Whatever.
I don't know. This one, normally I'm with you on this stuff, but this one doesn't bother me. This just seems like he's making the show a little bit more modern, and it just seems to make sense to maybe be a little bit more inclusive.
I thought it would be kind of cool that if they brought it back, and because where the show left off with all the Slayers being do stories like that, continue on down the road with different Slayers showing different sides or something.
Here's the problem with that.
Right.
The problem with that is that since the show went off the air, almost immediately from the show going off the air, there has been a comic book that has come out that Whedon has written either all of or most of, that has been a direct continuation of the TV show. It's even labeled as season... What did Buffy have? 7 seasons?
I think 7 or 8.
7 or 8 seasons. So it's been labeled as...
Season 9.
Season 9, Season 10, Season 11. And it is considered...
the continuation
of that show.
Okay.
Interesting.
So if he were to try to continue it, he would now either be pigeonholed into following that book.
7 seasons. Yeah.
Okay. So he would either be pigeonholed into now recreating that book on the screen, or he would have to then say everything that I've written for the past 10 years that I've told you is canon is not canon.
Like a Star Wars situation.
Right. I don't think he wants to do that either. So I think the honest to God easiest way to do it is to say, look, I'm still in love with the concept of this show. It's still him that's doing it. And again, remember, this is the 3rd time he's did it, because he did the original Buffy movie too with Christy Swanson.
Right. And Luke Perry.
And Pee Wee Herman and Rutger Hauer and Donald Sutherland.
The movie was good.
That was the original Buffy, and that was him. He
sounds toasty.
He went back and redid the TV show, and it was a huge pop culture event.
Phenomenon.
I mean, it spawned off Angel, which was hugely successful. Got 5 seasons of its own. So I think him still having an attachment to the property and just wanting to reinvent it again, kudos to him, man. Do it. It's his character. As far as I'm concerned, he can do whatever he wants with it.
But you said he has these books of continued history. You could continue with the television show and then just refer back to it as you go to those stories that you know.
I don't think he wants to pigeonhole himself to what he's already written in those comic books, and I don't think he wants to try to explain to a new audience, to the people who haven't read those. Like, I haven't read the comics, and I love the show. It's too much to read. I don't think he wants to have to explain to those people all those tie-ins. I think
So
he would
just
rather
start over again?
I think he'd rather just start from scratch. If you think about it, the TV show has been off the air for how many years?
I know, but look at comic
while
books.
now.
Whenever they go further with a comic book character, there's all these old stories that the majority of the population has not read those comic books, but they have to explain it and use them in the movies.
Again, I think he doesn't want to play in that. I think he considers that.
Is this why he left Batgirl?
Honestly, I mean, if you want my honest opinion, why he left Batgirl, it's
Batgirl stinks.
because wouldn't you leave anything in the DC universe? At this
Yeah,
point?
seriously.
I mean, if you're a director with a little bit of clout who pretty much can do anything you want, because he's the type of director that if he pitches something somewhere, with the exception of Wonder Woman years ago, he's the kind of someone who, if he pitches something somewhere, chances are he's gonna get it somewhere. Like.
Thinking of this superhero toaster.
Yeah, like he's just like, maybe I don't want to play in that sandbox.
Real quick side note, since you mentioned toasters, Giddle, somebody wrote me about a comment you made last week. You said, remember you were talking about After Dark, the software?
Yeah, with the flying toasters.
Yeah, so that's the guy wrote in. He said it's a screensaver software.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I was wrong then, but I remember it was the flying toasters.
Yeah,
I remember the flying toasters. Also, very quickly to Joss, and I think
we're going to wrap up here.
I also think Joss left because he saw the writing on the wall from a political correctness. Gil's is so upset.
Stop everything over here.
Stop breaking shit.
I think he left because he saw the writing on the wall from a political correctness standpoint. Because he was starting to there was already starting to be pushback. Well, why does it have to be it's got to be a female director and a female writer and that was already starting to bubble under the surface. And as soon as Whedon announced he was leaving, that's exactly what they got. A female writer, a female... Now, I'm not saying that they might not do a great job with it, but I think he was like, I don't deal with that shit. And Whedon is a guy who is, historically speaking, has only written strong female characters. Yeah. Every lead that he's ever written,
I know. He got attacked for a while too.
For a while, stuff, with the exception of Firefly, which is a true ensemble movie. But the lead character in Firefly was River Song, not River Song. River. It was River. Was
River
her
Phoenix.
Name. No, it wasn't River Phoenix. River Tam.
Rivers Cuomo.
Played by whatever. Summer Glau. Sorry. But so yeah, I think he left that property because he didn't want to deal with it. So anyway, there you go.
All right, there you go. A couple other quick announcements, and we can leave this place. Like we said, Disenchantment comes to Netflix on August 17th. The Ozarks Season 2 returns. If you haven't seen that, I highly recommend it. Jason Bateman is amazing in it. Comes to Netflix on August 31st. The Bruce Willis Roast on Comedy Central is this Sunday. You want to check that out. There's also some DVD news for you. That Gravity Falls, we've talked about this for a while.
I'm excited for this.
Finally has an official box set coming out of the entire series, DVD or Blu-ray, with Shout Factory.
Yes.
You can check that out. It comes with a lithograph too.
Yes.
So it's about $80. I think 60. Somebody told me that they saw it for like 65 on Amazon.
Yeah.
So depending where you want to get it.
But I don't think does the Amazon one come with the litho?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
I don't know about that. This channel apparently is going away. Verizon had a channel called Go 90 that I only discovered at the beginning of this month, and it's been around for a few years, but it's going away. They're moving the property somewhere else. But they had a series called Transformers Prime Wars. It was a trilogy. It was 3 seasons. Each episode was only 10 minutes.
Prime Wars was great.
Right, but this was the Prime Wars trilogy.
Oh, okay.
And the first season involved combiners, all the robots that form bigger robots. The second was Titans.
Yep.
And then the third one, I forgot what the third one was, but they were all amazing.
This must have been in partnership with Hasbro then, because that was all Hasbro.
They were all the Hasbro things. Yeah, these were all amazing. They look like the G1 robots. There's nothing offbeat or overly fancy about everything. The production value is great, but I was like, this is like watching the original show with better dialogue. Like Megatron says shit a couple of times because he's so pissed off.
Very, very quickly, DVD news. Did you see the Batman animated series is getting a huge Blu-ray release?
Yes,
as well?
and I saw complaints with that because the big version of it comes with some Funko Pops, and the Batman is the blue cowl from the 60s. It's not the Batman from that era.
People will complain.
I know. I had no idea. That's how I found out. It was showing up on a Funko thing where people were getting mad about the box set coming out. It's like, this is the wrong Batman. I was like, I had no idea this was even coming out. Enjoy.
Right. Interesting.
Anyway, all right.
But
and one last really quick thing in TV news.
Yes.
Comedy Central has acquired all the rights to BoJack Horseman, so they will be syndicating BoJack Horseman starting in September, right after South Park, starting with season 1. So they're going to start doing all the BoJack reruns on Comedy Central, which I think is kind of interesting. That it's coming from a streaming service to Comedy Central.
There's a lot of profanity in those shows.
Yeah, but they're airing it after South Park, which means it's going to be on after that certain time where they can air things. But I thought that's just kind of interesting, because you usually don't see things go from Netflix to syndication. You usually see it go from syndication to Netflix.
True. All right. Matt, before we do the official plugs, you wanted to just mention about your pals at the Four Horsemen?
Oh, yeah. So this coming Friday, they're going to be streaming a special event. It's going to be from 11 to 7 p.m. It's going to be on their website.
Friday the 27th of July.
Yes, Friday the 27th. It's going to be on their website. You just go to fourhorsemen.com, and it's the number 4. I'll be there for probably the last 2 hours or so of that event, hanging out with them, doing some content with them. So it should be a good time.
Matt's going to do a little song and dance number.
I am.
To try to.
I've seen the spandex. He looks great.
Top hat and tails.
Wait until you see the perm.
And with that, let's do the plugs and get out of here. We'll go right back to Matt. Matt, what do you have?
Social media, you can find me Geek Stuff OG. Also, bkgeekstuff.com for the Geek Stuff podcast, and patreon.com/bkgeekstuff if you'd like to support us there.
Giddles, what do you have?
Oh, shit, I was yawning. Giddle based on the Twitter, Instagram, and Xbox Live, and that's it for me right now. I don't got too much stuff coming up, but there's no takedowns because it's the summer and no one wants to cook. But yeah, that's pretty much it for me.
Trevs and Devs?
Ew.
Trevins.
I got nothing.
Trevins?
No, BTG Trevor on Twitter. Let's see if I can get up to 13 followers. Playing Fortnite a lot with Giddles. We're getting good. Eric says
you are.
Yeah. Eric keeps saying he's going to play with us, never shows up.
I want to, but stuff happens, so now.
Hey, let's play at 9:30. Perfect for me. I'll see you there.
Liars.
No, then we get a text at 12:30. You guys still on?
Yeah. No. Not even close.
All right.
There was something else. I can't remember. Give the phone number again, I guess.
All right. 651 Smithers is the phone number if you want to call the show.
Oh, yes. You can leave me all the sexy messages. Leave everything else for Eric.
651-764-8437. That's 651 Smithers. Call the show. Ask whatever the hell you want. For me, it's ERock Radio across the board on social media, but for the show, which is more important, it's Erik Nagel across the board. All the social media platforms. Follow us on Facebook. Follow us on YouTube. And tell 2 friends about the show so they can tell 2 friends, etc., etc., etc. All right, Matt, until the next time.
Be excellent to each other.
And we'll be seeing you.
It's Erik Nagel. And that's all the time we have. Follow the show at It's Erik Nagel on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. Unless we do something stupid or...